recording, just making sure I did this once already and it didn't record and I went through my whole webinar. Anyways, I'm so excited they're here, and I'm teacher Sylvia Koczerzuk with Walkabout Canine Consulting, and I am so grateful for Empowered Dogs and Michelle to do this here on their platform. I'm super excited. Hopefully you will enjoy what I have there with you, and love to get some feedback from you. I'm just going to get my little presentation started. So this is cool. This is going to be on socialization, lockdown or not. And what I'm going to do is give you some great way to look at socializing and what we can do of our COVID or not. I know it's read all across. You like my hoser hat? Today is handmade dog mom, so I thought, and maybe that's why my work, because it came in the mail today, so I think it's super cool. So we're going to look at what is it and not. And I'm here. We are your mind at rest. It can be easier than some people are afraid of. So again, Sylvia Koczerzuk. I have Walkabout Consulting. I am certified dog behavior consultant as a certified fear-free. So I've been working with owners and their dogs for about 30 years in a lot of different capacities. But my favorite thing is working towards building success for owners and their dogs. I think it's so cool. I'm really passionate about helping owners. I love the training and the behavior, and just watching owners have a big smile on face with their puppies and their dogs. So, and for some of you that aren't able to make it, while this is being broadcast, it is recorded, and I may not be able to see you right now and be behind the scenes, and you will be able to see this again if you want to. And there are opportunities for questions, which we are going to save towards the end. So you can ask already as we go through the different slides as they come to you, and then we can address those as they come along. So, you know, we welcome our puppies into our home, and it's so exciting, and we're all ready. And so and we think, okay, yeah, we're ready to go. So no matter what why you're bringing your puppy into your home, maybe it's a companion or your older dog, maybe a companion even for a senior living with you, walking buddy, a sport dog, maybe you're really into sports, or hunting dog, a family dog, or a therapy service dog. But I want to try puppies in a really cool, no matter what they're going to be doing. Living with us. So, you know, what do you see for your puppy's future? And, you know, this is fun, actually. I think socializing is fun. So let's look at socialization. Because a lot of times I hear people thinking that, oh, I need to socialize my puppy to dogs and people. And it's not just about that. It is about exposing our dogs in a healthy and positive way to all kinds of sight, sounds, smells, and tactile, so different surfaces. And so there's much more to just meeting people and other dogs and puppies. And hey, did you know this? When puppies are born, you know, I talked about in the previous slide about sight, sounds, smells, and tactile. When puppies are born, their first developed sense is scent. They do have tactile, but scent is really important. And keep that in the back of your mind, write it down, because scent is super, super important in your puppy and your dog's life. So it's going to be a really important journey together. So it's actually really cool. Let's nerd out a little bit about our developmental stages. I won't spend tons of time here, but just so that you have some information. Our prenatal, meaning our little puppies are alive and they're squirming in their mummy's belly. So they get a lot of impact from their moms. So if their moms are stressed, it affects the puppies. And if their moms aren't getting nutrition, it affects the puppies. So it does affect their development. And then, of course, we have our neonatal when our puppies are born. And as I said, they are blind and deaf, but they can smell. And that's how they find their mom. They can smell her when they need to find their food. After 3 weeks, usually anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks, there's this transition and they start becoming more active and independent. And their neurological is developing more. They're starting to hear and see. And then at 3, 4 weeks, they go already into their socialization period. So any of you that are breeders out there, wow, so much that you can do for these puppies before they go into their home at 8 weeks. So that's really cool. And then we have our juvenile period, which a lot of times we don't think about that, but that's, 3 weeks, or sorry, not 3 weeks, 12 weeks. That's three months where, puppies are like, I'm growing up a little bit. They're still puppies, but, between then and sexual maturity, they think they're big, just like we did, and that we didn't need our mom's help. And of course, we have our adolescent period, which, the teenage phase where sexual maturity coincides with puberty and all kinds of things that are happening in our puppy's body. We won't address that here, but it is an important element. And then, of course, our puppies grow up and then they're adults and, they are socially mature, depending on the breed, anywhere from 2 to 3 years. 3 years is thought to be the average. And then, of course, then they become seniors, and that depends as well as the type of dog that you have. Um, so when we get our puppies home, our puppies' brains are so receptive, and they're like little sponges, and they're really cool, and they can learn so many things. It's just amazing until about 6 weeks, where it starts to slow down a little bit. So, but one thing that I would love for you to keep in mind, and this is something to make note of if you want to write this down as well, is just because you've exposed your puppy to a positive experience, just one bad one can just erase some of the good that you've done. So, write that down. A lot of times we hear other dog owners saying, oh, they'll get over it. And sometimes it's not that simple. So you want to be careful. The longer I know about behavior, the more I understand it. It depends. So we always want to err on the side of caution, but don't worry, we're going to give you lots of tips. And that's what this webinar is about, is just to make some sense of things and hopefully make things easy for you. I know a lot of owners, and I've seen this since COVID started last year, and everybody's worried when they're getting puppies. More people have gotten puppies. They tend to have a little bit more time now. Our lives have changed. So they have concerns about that. But, how do we do that? Well, basically what we want to do is we want to provide first impressions. And we want a good first impression. If you think about when you're meeting somebody for the first time, that first impression really matters. And it's no different than for our puppies. So regardless, even if you think, oh, well, my puppy's okay with that, but you don't know what they're thinking. So he may be just standing there and just looking, and he seems okay, but inside his head he's going, I'm not so sure about this. I don't know. I might have to have a closer look. It might be a little suspicious, but we don't want them to do that. So let's just create a positive experience right from the get-go. And that's easy to do with their food, their treats, happy talk, jolly routine. As Bill Campbell used to say, new dogs would be the same. If you don't know their history, then it's, you might be a little bit unsure. And sometimes there's a little bit reconditioning that's happening as well. So here we see some pictures of dogs being exposed to new things. They're novel, and they're not dogs or people. So And you want to remember, isn't this puppy cool with the paint all over it? I think it's so cool. You want to remember it's your puppy and you get to decide what's best for your puppy. You'll want to remember that socialization, you want it to be managed by you. It's about quality and not quantity. So that's something to be careful of. If somebody says that, you have to really expose them a lot, no, it's about quality and not quantity. So that is something that we want to write that down, quality and not quantity. Um, and you get to decide when you're in a new environment, what is safe and what isn't for your puppy. Yeah. So find what your puppies love. So our puppies should love all kinds of stuff, and let's find out what that is. If your puppy just came to your home, and you're just getting to know it, you're also finding out some of the things that they love. But hey, we can use their kibble because they got to eat anyway, so we can use their breakfast, lunch, and dinner to work on building positive associations. We can use things like dried liver. I love using dehydrated meats. I do that myself, or I actually found a really new local person that does that. And, praise, nice, soft, calm praising is cool. Touch, you'll have to determine, because some puppies aren't really crazy about touch at first, but it depends. Some of them, really love their ears being rubbed and their chest being rubbed. And you do want to keep it nice and soft and calm and pair that with the new experience. So, and sniffing, remember I said how important scent is. So sniffing, if your dog loves to sniff, hey, that is definitely a positive. It could be even running. There's a little Jack Russell Terrier up here. And hey, if we go to a new little park with our puppy and they love to run, we can give them a couple of seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 10 seconds, you gauge it, of running around in the park and having fun. So it's created a positive association. So what's your dog's list? That's another thing that you can write down. Let's see, what are some of the favorite things that your dog has? You see the dog on the bottom loves his soccer ball. One of my puppies was crazy about soccer balls, and every time we went to the school ground, it was like, oh my God, when kids forgot to bring the balls in from recess. It was so funny. So some other things that we want to consider is, where we're going to take our puppies. Are they ready? How overwhelming is the new location that you plan on taking your puppy? Are they ready? Are they ready to go to a really, really crowded place? Are they ready to go to a really loud place? That is, can be overwhelming. And that might be something that you want to work up to very slowly. Even going to a pet store, I see a lot of owners, they just want to take their pets to the pet store, and it's okay, but you might want to be a little more mindful about the time of day that you go. Something to keep in mind is there are so many smells in a pet store. And going back to how, scent is a dog's first sense, and it is extremely important to them. It might be overwhelming in a pet store. There's so many smells of the bones and the food and the treats and other people and other dogs. And sometimes people will take dogs into pet stores and they're a little bit stressed. And our puppies can smell some of that. So, think about that. And like I say, a good time to go is, when it's a little quieter. I waited a while before I took my puppy to the pet store because I knew it was going to be really exciting. And one of my dogs knew exactly, had never been in there before. And we were like 3 feet away from the front door, and it's like, wow, she could just smell everything. before we got to the front door. And, how do we socialize our puppy, lockdown or not? These are great ways to socialize our puppy, even without lockdown, because, sometimes, having a little more distance is helpful during the socialization process. So, and of course, you want to make sure that you're bringing your puppies food, bring some extra treats, and, you want them to realize, like, hey, this is a new experience and it means something wonderful. And my owner is telling me how wonderful I am. So here we've got a crate in a wagon, which is really cool. And I actually have a bike trailer, and I use that for one of my puppies just to get her a little more acquainted with the neighborhoods. I just went for a really short ride. She thought it was cool. I had a couple of other older dogs thought it was really, really cool. They had a chauffeur. So that was awesome. And, yeah, you can be carrying your puppy. So a lot of times, it might be a little bit scary on the ground, or you are concerned about the health of your puppy and going to an area where there are a lot of people and other dogs, and you want to make sure that it is safe health-wise for them, that they don't catch anything. So you can be carrying them. There's nothing wrong with that. And they're in the safety of your arms as well. Um, Other dogs, that's another concern with owners, and it's not always a rush. And we don't have to walk up to every dog that we see for your dog to be okay. Watching other dogs from far away can be good exposure, lockdown or not. And, if you're keeping it positive, for some puppies, that might just be enough for them. And, for some, they might just want that slow warm up. And so, you can just, you know, watch from afar or sit in your car, go and sit on a park bench. You might have the opportunity if you're, your neighbors and they have a dog and that dog really well. I mean, they could allow you to come over to the backyard and that dog meeting your puppy. Just be careful and always keep it short. So there's always a way to provide our socialization experiences for our puppy. It's not super difficult if we start making we start thinking about it. It's like, hey, this is easy to do. Okay. And then, of course, we want to be careful about, when the dogs are meeting each other or seeing each other, when we get to the point where we can come closer to other dogs, that they're not getting overwhelmed with each other. Roughhousing isn't always a good first impression. And again, it's always, knowing who your puppy is and making sure, and even if they do enjoy playing, it's nice to give them little breaks in between. So, so they can catch their breath and they're not getting overwhelmed. So, and also you always want to make sure that it's very, very safe situation for them to be playing. And, you don't have to force interactions. If your puppy is not interested or a little bit shy or needs a little bit of time, give them that time. It's about choice. So we do want to give our puppies choice. We don't want to be forcing them. And, you want your puppy to approach other people and dogs on their own. We have the one picture here. Puppy is still sitting. Um, uh, and, if the puppy right there doesn't have a leash on, and that puppy has a choice to walk away, which is, a really good situation. And that's what you want to think about. Um, Also, when puppies are meeting each other, you see the picture on the bottom, we're on a nice big beach, so puppies can run away and they have an opportunity to have a nice big open space, and that is always helpful. The smaller the space, the harder it is. And it is for us too. If we think about if we go to a party and the room is really small, it's like, so the bigger the space that you have, the more comfortable that we usually feel. And, it doesn't have to be about, an interaction. The other picture that you see, there is a puppy and there is an older dog, and they're just sitting there, they're getting treats, and they are interacting. They're just not necessarily need to play. So that is always a really nice way to introduce dogs as well, and to keep calmness and just having them calm, and staying calm, giving them treats, and sometimes even giving them activities to do together. So here's a bunch of puppies, and they've got a couple of dog cots here. And there's a lot of bouncy, happy body language here. So, there's rough and tumble, and they're going back and forth, and then, stopping and going back in, and, wiggling their butt, a lot of soft language. And like I say, sometimes you can just have the puppies and have them both playing with something together, so that they are creating, and you don't want this to be happening where a puppy is actually pulling on another puppy's ears, because that's not a nice first impression at all, unless they're litter mates and they're used to, as we say, your brothers and sisters doing stuff to you. So how do we address strangers during lockdown or not? You can go out your front door and sit on the porch. A lot of times, especially right now, lots of people are walking, lots of people are walking their dogs. So, you can just go out your front door. A lot of people go at the same time on their walk with their dogs. And when you know the schedule, you can even stand. If it's cold, you can even stand in the window with your puppy in your arms, so they look out, and create a positive exposure to that. If it's a little bit milder, like I say, you can go on your front porch. You can have the whole family sitting there together and just watching the world go by, nice and calm, nice and happy. Give some treats. And it doesn't have to be for a long period of time. You can increase the time slowly. And for those of us that live in colder climates, they will be increased very slowly, because it is a little chilly to be out there for too long. And it also allows for some really safe distances, which is a nice way to climatize for our puppy, with a little more distance. So, and then we can transfer the value of the sights, the smells, the movements of people and other dogs with their treats. So, strangers after lockdown. So, right now we do need to do some social distancing, which is not a bad thing. But, once we are able to visit a little bit more, we can have, usually now it's just with people that we know. But you want to be careful about handing puppies off to each other, because we are taking choice away when we're doing something like that. Instead, it's nice to have the puppy on the ground, and if it's not safe and you need to have a leash, if the puppy approaches the other person, then that's quite fine. But again, you want to deliver the value to your puppy. Sometimes it's hard for puppies to take treats out of a stranger's hand. So the easiest thing to do is that person can just place some treats on the ground and just point them out for the puppy. And that just makes it easier on the puppy. It's something that I do if I'm working with a new puppy that doesn't know me. I don't expect it to take treats out of my hand right away. I'll put them on the ground and point them out, and then they go, cool, until they feel more comfortable at taking treats. So, you want to transfer the value of that person to the puppy, but, not making them take it out of the stranger's hands. So, children. So this is a toddler, and this can be difficult. So if you have somebody in the family that's bringing over a toddler, you want to be careful. This is a little bit confrontational, and you see the dog is moving away. Of course, the toddler is interested in the puppy. I mean, what child isn't? So use your crates and your gates. And your X pen so that your puppy can go in there and they can have a nice Kong toy or a bone or a licky mat while you have your visitors there. So, and that is still socialization, believe it or not. It's just at a greater distance. You're not allowing for first impressions to go wrong, because it can be, a little bit alarming, especially because toddlers look so different than we do. And puppies are like, whoa, what the heck is that? Children, again, choice. So, this dog actually knows shake a paw, which is really nice. And, the dog is offering their paw on their own. So there is choice there. So, and the owner has the treats as you see, and the kids are sitting nice and quiet and being calm. So that is helpful too, especially if we're introducing our puppy to children, if we don't have kids in the house. So just doing it in a calm way. So again, first impressions, they have a big impact. And I think we understand some of that ourselves. And what do you do after lockdown? So and your puppy, if you're worried your puppy's not vaccinated and your veterinarian saying no, they can't go outside, doesn't mean that they can't go outside, but you do want to be mindful of where you're going. And if they're still pretty young, you can carry them, know where you're taking your puppy. It only has to be for short periods, but we lawnmowers is part of socializing, vacuum cleaners is part of socializing, and we want to pair that. So using our Kong toys, using play when those things are happening, bully sticks. And short periods you want to watch. If your puppy's not getting overwhelmed, then that's great. Sometimes we need to start really, really short. And that, again, you don't want to overwhelm your puppy. So there's a lot of things that you can do, if you think, oh, this isn't going very well. And it's like, just leave really calmly, and start walking away calmly and give your puppy treats and lots of happy talk. And, and then just leave. You can end, if your puppy's starting to feel more comfortable, you can do a little bit of a play session before you get into the car. Again, forming positive associations. So, and lots of, happy talk when they are encountering something new. It is nice to have extra special treats on hand besides your kibble when you're doing stuff like that, so that it is really making an awesome first impression when you're using a little bit of chicken instead of the kibble. And don't get me wrong, some dogs love their kibble, so that's cool as well. And how else do we socialize our puppy during lockdown or restrictions? So yeah, we can be holding our puppy and watching bicycles and watching other dogs and giving them the treats. If they seem a little bit nervous, just move a little bit away and watch how they react to that. Again, I can't repeat often enough, just short periods, not overexposure. And if your puppy relaxes when you move a little bit of distance away, then just try giving them some treats. You can go a little bit closer, or maybe you think, you know what, this is far enough away, my puppy's comfortable, I'm going to give them a few more treats and we're going to be on our way. And always keep it really positive, nice praise. We don't want to reprimand our puppies for being nervous, because that's not fair to them. They're just, again, first impressions. So, if you're happy and calm, they know that, that like, hey, my person is being calm and happy, so maybe it is okay. Um, Yeah, so and the other thing that you want to remember is, if your puppy isn't nervous, that's awesome. Still try and keep it short. The other thing that you want to be careful is if your puppy is curious, don't squash that curiosity, because that creates confidence. So, if they're like, I want to go see that, and, let them have a look. Or if you're holding something that's like, what do you got? Just let them smell it. And the curiosity is awesome. It helps build confidence. So we don't want to squash that at all. And, back to other puppies and dogs. I don't have the sound on this. The sound is actually quite icky. But I think you can see the body language is a lot more, it's stiff. These are puppies of approximately the same age, and they are getting over aroused. It does turn nasty here. Um, and it's really, their body language is really stiff. So that's a big tell. And, getting too noisy, not that, nice little gurgling growl. Because arousal levels can get high, and you don't want it to get like that. And it can go wrong, and you never want to let them work it out. That is not good. So that's why when you keep things really short, you avoid getting to over arousal. So, you want fluid movement that you see here in these videos with these puppies. The mouths are open, and that doesn't mean anything. The arousal levels are low. They're having fun. There's, lots of bouncy. The elbows are bent, which is really important. Language as well. And, down here you see two puppies, and they're just lying together really nice. Each of them have a toy, and that is socialization as well. They're just chilling together, which is an awesome thing for dogs to do together. So, all puppies and dogs benefit from positive exposure. You want to, think about, there's so many things that are going to be novel for your puppy. Yeah, everything from a stuffed animal to a pencil, even a pencil dropping on the ground. And you want to keep it positive, fun, and so that you're creating a confident puppy. What else we got here? So engage and play when we're going out to new environments, which new environments is socializing as well, but it doesn't mean that they need to be interacting with anybody. Let's get them interacting with us. Let's play with them. This dog is playing ball. And so that's creating a positive experience in this location. And it's also teaching our puppy to stay engaged and focused on the owner, which is what we want. And you do want to make sure new places are fun, and that new places means I still keep my attention on my mom. So, and it just, further develops that relationship with the owner, which is so cool. Here we have a puppy. This is actually during our last COVID lockdown, and just owner going to a new place and letting the puppy just check things out and smell, sniffing. Remember, scent is so important for dogs, and scenting is really calming. It is a calming activity for them. And then, you have an opportunity for engagement and check-ins with you in the new environment. And again, they're just, enjoying and relaxing in a new environment when they get to sniff. And even, like I've talked a few times about creating calmness and rewarding calmness. My head's just floating around here. And, some dogs don't mind being pet on the head, but, you can do a little bit of a ear scratch if that calms down your dog, so that they learn to be calm in some new environments as well. Calm is a great default behavior to build in our puppies. So, and what are some other things that we need to think about? We've talked about environments, we've talked about other other dogs, other people, novel situations. We want to think about anything that looks different to our puppy: hats, helmets. Our dogs are getting used to masks during lockdown for some of us that have mandatory mask wearing, different hats, helmets, ponchos, mitts, sunglasses, masks, glasses, and depending on what season your puppy was born in, when you transition to another season, then we wear different things, different electronic devices. Somebody in the family drives a motorcycle and they have the helmet with their whole head is covered and it looks like an alien. Those are things that you need to get used to, like even uniforms, police uniforms, fireman uniforms. Some dogs like go, whoa, what the heck is that? And so again, those are novel things to our puppy. We can use play tunnels, and this is a kid's play gym, and just creating positive and fun and playground equipment when you go out to parks, boogie boards, which, just creating some fun. Here we've got some puppies, and just going into this big climb, and just, yeah, using food and creating lots of fun doing that. Also, we have to think about our veterinarian and exposing them to the doctor, which isn't always our dog's favorite things, but it is really cool to start positive if you can. And I do realize, a lot of people aren't able to get into the veterinarian right now, and they're dropping their dogs off at the door, which can be concerning for some people. So, if you've got your puppy and you're not due for any checkups yet, there's lots of opportunity to even just drive to your veterinarian clinic and sit in the driveway and treat your dog. You can just sit there for 5 seconds and give your puppy some treats and then walk away. You can get your puppy out and carry them around the building and give them some treats, because remember, their sense of smell is an important scent, and they will remember the smells if you're creating positive associations. It's they're gonna smell a lot of things outside the building already, so if we can create a lot of exposures to going into the area without anything yucky happening, and hopefully you're using a fear-free veterinarian or low stress handling where they're going to use lots of treats when you go in anyway, that will help you. But that's exposure, that's socialization. So those are things that you can do ahead of time. You go into the grocery store and you can pop by the vet's parking lot and just spend some time there. So that's something to think about as well. If your puppy is seeing snow for the first time, yeah, we can't really expose them to snow ahead of time, but hey, when it's snowing, it's fun. Some puppies love it. Some puppies go, it's so cold and you want me to pee in this? So again, trying to keep it positive as much as possible. Maybe you have to use a few more treats. And of course, parkas are really, really different for puppies and look kind of odd. And some of them are pretty poofy. So you want them to be exposed to that. It's not like you have to do it a lot, but you can just put your parka on and give a bunch of treats, and there is some exposure there. Rain ponchos, especially the bright yellow ones, is like, whoa, what's that? And an umbrella. So, that's something that you can expose your puppies to, lockdown or not, it doesn't matter. So that's exposure to novel things. If you got funny hats, funny sunglasses, even if you have some weird Halloween costumes, that way, when Halloween comes, your dog won't be freaked out when you open the door to give out some Halloween candy. So children blowing bubbles, this is something that kids love to do, and we can do this. Again, it's something novel, so a lot of times owners might not think about it. It's kind of funny when puppies see that for the first time. shopping centers. So some of us do live in areas where they are allowed to bring their dogs with them, which is really cool. And, our shopping centers are probably really, really quiet. But again, it doesn't mean that you can't take them there. And right now is probably a nice time because it isn't too busy. So they're not going to get overexposed. And again, you can carry them, or if you have your wagon, anything like that. And you can bring your puppy and expose them and giving them positive experiences with the treats and happy talk. And again, so this is lockdown or not. And then once shopping centers do open slowly, then, your puppy has already been slowly exposed to these areas. So that is, something to think about. Yeah. And, some of our shopping areas that are open, with the essentials, we can drive there as well and park in the parking lot and just, we can even take our puppy up towards the door at a safe distance, of course, right now. And again, that's exposure. So, we do still have areas that do have some traffic with shopping. You can park towards the end of the parking lot where it's a little bit quieter. And then every time you go, you can get a little bit closer. And like I say, you can carry your puppy. You can stand just outside your car door and expose your puppy that way as well. So there's lots of ways that you can do this, lockdown or not, and lots of ways to start with really short and small exposures. You can just drive to a parking lot that's maybe alongside of a busy road where there's lots of traffic and there's buses and trucks going by, so they're getting exposed to that. We can certainly mimic that with some of our devices and playing sounds, but I will tell you, some dogs will definitely know there's a difference. I have a dog. I tell you, I can play all the doorbells I want that sound exactly like my doorbells on my iPhone, but it is not the same. I can do all the training I want, but it's definitely not the same as the real thing. So they're pretty smart that way. Yeah, so this is a great way to do that at a safe distance. And there's lots of shops. I know in the UK, Europe, you're allowed to bring your dogs into the shops, which is really, really cool. Maybe you don't want to go during a busy time right away. Here in North America, normally, Home Depot, Lowe's, that kind of stuff lets you bring them in. But, you want to think about and be mindful of when it's a little bit quieter and it's not as busy, so your dog isn't getting overwhelmed. So you be the judge. Lockdown or not, some of these things can be done. Of course, you do want to think about safety during these times. So I'm just giving you ideas. So the list of possibilities are just endless. And, the more things that we can expose our dogs to in a positive way, it just, it builds a confident dog. So the list is endless. Here's one of my dogs. So I bought these streamers once at a flea market, and it's like I had them going through. It's like, cool. And they just got treats on the other side. They weren't too afraid of it because my dogs are used to me doing all kinds of quirky things like that. Even something as simple as a swimming pool can be scary for a dog. This guy was never as confident around the pool as his sister was, but I did it very, very slowly in little pieces. And he always had toys. So, and we incorporated a lot of food and play so that he finally, he finally went in on his own, and now I can't keep him out. So it actually took a couple of years to really evolve, but so that's always fun. Different looking objects are really cool. This is just a piece of a at-home dog, not an A-frame, but what do you call them, walking plank for agility. I hadn't put it together yet. So my dogs are used to me putting things down, and I reinforce them for getting on it. So again, it just builds confidence, like, cool, what's this? But yeah, that's what they do. Ball pit, all kinds of bright toys, different toys, metal container, plastic basket. I just throw a bunch of treats around and they can wiggle. This is a wobble board. It's like, oh, cool, wobble board. So, even the movement can be weird. So you can, think about things like that. But again, very, very slowly. Dog always should have a choice. You never want to force them to interact with something that they're worried about, even if there are treats there, because they could be actually not confident around the object, but still are willing to go get the treat. So you do want to be mindful of that. Sometimes if I see my dog's a little bit apprehensive, I may put the treats really far away from the item, and see how they do then. But it's almost like putting a few $100s in a snake pit, and it's like, yeah, I'll put my hand in there because I really need that money. And but it's not enjoyable to put your hand down there. So I like to use that analogy. Yeah, so here's a great checklist of different things for exposure for your dog. Don't get overwhelmed with it, but just think about it. There's so many things that we have around our home that we can do too. So, there's all our dog's grooming equipment, bicycles, and, touching them, and objects, and the broom, and the vacuum cleaner, and skateboards, and scooters. If you have kids, you have a lot of toys. So those are things, taking them to new environments. It's nice to actually, take them to new places. It's not something that you have to do every week, but, you can a couple of times a week, once a week, and just creating positive associations to that, realizing if you live somewhere cold, it's not as easier said than done, but doesn't mean that you can't drive there in a nice warm toasty car, get out and then get back in. If you live in a nice moderate climate, you can go sit on the bench and watch the world go by, and create positive exposure. So this is the part where at the end, where I can answer some of your questions, and maybe some of our other trainers can do that as well. I just thought I'd let you know about some of my programs that I have. I do one-on-one training and behavior, so I'm able to help owners virtually and via Zoom. And I have the Planned Puppy program. I do have Recall Freedom, and I have a loose leash Zoom class starting on February 9th, which is really cool. I love teaching some of the foundation skills to help owners with that. And I have my membership programs. And if you have a puppy, or if you have a friend or family that's getting a puppy and that's why you're here, I do have a Facebook group. It's free, House Training Help for Your Puppy and Dog Facebook. And you just need to join it. You don't need approval. You can just get in there. And I've got a lot of things broken down into learning units. And if you're still struggling, you can ask a question, and I'm happy to help there. So, and I really appreciate you listening to me today, this afternoon, this evening. I don't know what time it is everywhere, but I am I'm giving you a free discovery 10-minute Zoom call as a thank you for attending this webinar. So I want to thank Yo and Michelle for giving me this opportunity of Power Dogs. It's really cool that they're doing this. And you can contact me at walkaboutcanine@aol.com. So again, I am just really happy that you joined us, and stay safe, and let's get on